Hello. And now let's welcome Erika Absetz and Marius Michael from Wargaming, the Duke and Duchess of Big Data.
Thank you.
Most of the world will make decisions by either guessing or using their gut. They will be either lucky or wrong. Suhail Doshi. None of us want our game teams to be guessing when making critical decisions. We need to work hard to make sure that they have the right data at the right time. We'll be taking you on a little journey about how wargaming has grown and how we're evolving to meet our data needs. Kroshka Sinkatsu Prishel Isprasila Kroha. Sto Takoya Harasho, Isto Takoya Ploha.
Thank you. Let's go.
And Marius, could you tell them about what is good and what is bad?
Sure. Wow, that's a good one. OK, so World of Tanks grew to great success. It was launched in 2010 on the Russian cluster. By 2011, expanded to the European and to the NA markets, and by 2012 to Asia. As new features were added, our platform services supported that in a very organic way. And World of Warships and World of Warplanes also inherited those services. Now, some of the bad things. So it's very easy when you're getting features for games out the door in a really rapid way for back-end services to accumulate technical debt. With great flexibility comes great complexity. And whilst that's not necessarily a bad thing, you do have to manage that in a sustainable way. And this last point is actually quite interesting, and it might not be inherent just to wargaming. So when you've got three main titles that are very similar, so World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Warplanes, it's very easy for you to get away with not abstracting your data.
Now that we know the differences, we shall do the good and not the bad. Let's catch this situation before it gets too ugly. We have a myriad of systems and user interfaces. They're used by developers, designers, publishing, marketing, customer service reps, and they all have to interact with different aspects of a highly complex system of platform services in order to develop, ship, and maintain their product.
So what you can see here, in the middle there, that black box is the game server, and it's in the middle of that complex mesh. And what this means is the game teams need to be vitally aware of every single service that's connected to it. And this basically means that you develop tribal knowledge and complexity over time.
Now imagine the data for all these services. There's different structures, different data types. How are we going to combine all of that into clear, cohesive insights?
That's a lovely cat.
Thank you.
Very majestic.
Spent a lot of time making him.
OK, so data warehouse to the rescue. So this is a situation where basically you throw all of your physical data into the data warehouse and have your data analysts and data scientists figure stuff out at the other end. In fact, let's get a show of hands. How many people here have been in organizations where you've just thrown data into like your data warehouse, hoping to get something out the other end? Raise your hands. Yeah, it's a pretty common example.
Eventually, we get the insights we need, but that takes a ton of time untangling this mess and joining together the data from different services. Think of all the work required to get good data. We have to ingest it, clean it, and transform it. This requires a lot of collaboration between the analysts and the development teams. While we love talking to each other, we could really spend that time focused on doing a real value add to our players, such as improving the game design. So we need to change how this works. Since we're spending 80% of our effort doing that right now and only 20% on what's valuable, there's a lot to change. So now what if we add more games into this mix?
Yeah, sure. Can anyone see a problem with this? Click. Click. OK, so some of the challenges. You've got ever-increasing resources, spending a lot of time, effort, and money in places that you shouldn't, and it's really hard to manage and inefficient. So we've got some challenges that require change. Who knows who this is? Sorry.
That was my line.
Sorry. Anyone? Anyone know who this is? Absolutely right. So those of you who don't know, there's a door. The Borg tried to assimilate mankind several times, but they failed. So they had to change their tactics. They assimilated Jean-Luc Picard as Locutus in order to take his knowledge and experience and fight against mankind. Fortunately for mankind, they failed.
Marios.
What?
You forgot to mention that data saved the day.
Absolutely. OK, so some of the challenges that we've got to face over the next periods are, we have fast onboarding of multiple games that are coming up, and we want to do that in a maintainable and efficient way. We want to ensure compliance whilst getting reliable metrics out the door, and efficiently as well and fast. So we need to evolve.
Our company has embarked on a mission to evolve its platform to meet all of these new challenges. Say your studio wants to spin up a new title. You just have to click the Add Game button and follow the API instructions. Then, publishing wants to make the players aware of consumables that are in the game. They just have to give them a free fire extinguisher when they catch on fire during a session, and then the next time offer it at a 20% off price, then 10%, 5%, and finally full price. With our new rules engine, that's simple. Then, commerce wants to reacquire players, so they can give them virtual currency that expires after a week. That's easy. Development wants to release updates live. We have a new streamlined process for that. And customer support, they can access all the trending issues and see all the data to help the customers have the best support for their problems.
Oh, no.
Ah.
Go back. So just got to add, no animals were harmed during the making of this presentation.
The network platform combines all of these into cohesive functionality and workflows. But to be clear, this isn't about creating a monolithic single service. It's about creating a microservice architecture built on patterns.
OK, so we've got this unified platform, but what does that mean for our data? What we wanted to do is make it really easy for our games to integrate with the platform. So we put in front this game API. What this means is that the games don't need to be worried about what's going on inside the platform, because they use intuitive APIs to do their work. For example, if you want to consume some currency, you call the Consume Currency API. If you want to fetch your products list, you use Fetch Products. You can see where that's going. So basically, a game can use any of the endpoints that they want in order to achieve the features that they want. On the other side, we wanted to introduce a much more efficient sort of event stream. So rather than chucking all of your data into the data warehouse, we crafted some APIs, some events that will give us the data entities that we need. And then data warehouse has a much easier time in figuring it out to give us our facts, our dimensions, and our aggregations in order to get dashboards. So you see on the left there, just keep adding some games. And nothing changes on this side. You've got to try and keep this to a minimum of changes as you scale the amount of games that you add. So some of the concepts that we decided that we need to apply is fix the root cause. So for example, like we fixed the game API in order to clean up that mess. Do work once. So by not shoving your entire physical structure into the data warehouse, it means that when you do make changes in your applications, you're not having to do the changes in logic on the other end. And my favorite, keep insights inside. So that basically means from the start, when you're making your APIs, through the platform, and then out the other end to your events, keep in sight the metrics that you're trying to produce. You're going to clean up a lot of the mess that happens.
So now that we have this lovely vision, how do we get there? We'll talk about creating the plan. So we went across all the dashboards and reports that we have in our organization for our current games. And then we used those combined with the business knowledge from our analysts to select the core metrics that we believe should be in all operational reporting. And then we put them into these 8 categories.
OK, so creating a data map of all your entities is vitally important. Start off with your conceptual data models, which is basically mapping out the high-end data entities and their relationships. Move then to your logical data models, adding the attributes, foreign keys, and that will help you to actually design better physical data models as well.
So to date, our telemetry has been very similar for all of our games because they're all battle-based MMOs. However, moving forward, we need to take into consideration different types of games. And so the telemetry for World of Tanks isn't the same as a game like Myst, and that isn't the same as League of Legends. So we need to abstract this telemetry so it can cover all the different use cases we have. So hover cats, hover dogs, whatever you need.
OK, so getting our data from one end to the other requires some infrastructure. What you can see here is an abstract of our data pipeline. So we've got our platform services in our games interacting with our GAPI, like I said before, spinning out events that are running through our event streaming service. Then it splits off into 2 parts, which the middle part there is the data profile. What that is, it gives our applications and services some real-time data in order to use, such as for the rules engine. Bottom part there is what's going into our data warehouse now. It's ETL'd into our data mart, and then comes out as dashboards and metrics. The top part there that's got the star on it is vitally important as well for our strategy, and that's the metadata manager. The reason it's got a star is because it connects everywhere. It connects to all of these endpoints. What this can give you, if you map out your data structures using a metadata manager, you can do 2 things vitally. One of them is data lineage. So basically, you're looking at, from here, you can work back to see where your data's come from, so you can see what's going on and what that data means when it gets there. Or you can do data impact. So when you're making a change in an event or any other part of the system, you can see what it is going to affect downstream. So crafting the path. We carefully sculpted the event structures, making sure they would map to those data entities.
Then we made sure that the data entities were clear and identified the correct services that we should be pulling that data from. We chose Apache Kafka for our messaging service and Hadoop for our data warehouse. Then we moved on to building the data layers. It's like a slice of cake. The bottom layer of the cake is our raw data. The next little layer of frosting is our ETL scripts to transform that raw data into our aggregated layer, the top piece of cake. And finally, the frosting and sprinkles on the surface is our presentation layer.
You said sprinkles. I don't like the word sprinkles for some reason, I don't know.
Once the aggregated layer is done, we move on to designing the reports. There's so many types of charts that can be used for reports, so it's really important for analysts to play around with the data and find the charts that really let the story come out. After that is done, we move on to a review process to make sure that our final dashboard makes sense from every business perspective. For communicating insights, we have a multiple number of ways that we do this. We use Grafana for real-time metrics. We do our operational reporting in Tableau. And now I'm going to show you some of our Tableau dashboards. Here's an example of the operational dashboards. These are really important to have because they have filters in them that let different users drill into the data past the initial view. And then we can change the time frame and view historic data for comparisons as our game moves on in time.
So the platform data hub and platform in general takes a lot of work from a lot of teams. They've all got to be working in tandem. And the Wargaming platform team is there to help our games, as well as third-party games, to get on board with that.
So how does this help our game developers? It lets the game developers focus on just the game.
Just connect to the APIs.
And out-of-the-box metrics and insights are at your fingertips.
Helps you to comply with compliance reasons. and to unlock additional features.
Like the rules engine, which leads to event-driven communications and actions.
Or even proactive customer service workflows.
And then we can have a fast game launch. We're here to help you. And now, we're going to show you a video we made.
It takes a lot to make a game. Design, programming and mechanics, user interface, art assets, networking. Game developers pour everything they have into creating the best possible experience for their players. Yet there is a critical component, key to driving your game forward, that needs the same care and attention: data. Data lets you know how many people have downloaded, installed, and started playing your game, and where you are losing players in the funnel. See how long they are playing, what they are engaging with most, what they really don't care about, how they are progressing, and where they are getting stuck. While it's easy to see why data is important to obtain these kinds of insights, it is common to underestimate just how much time and effort it takes to collect, transport, cleanse, aggregate, analyze, and present that data in a meaningful and useful way. Not to mention needing dedicated teams and ever-increasing resources to keep that whole process working and efficient. Wouldn't it be great if you could get those essential insights for your game with minimal fuss? Introducing the Wargaming Platform Data Hub. Simply plug your game's data in using intuitive APIs and event structures, and have it transformed into digestible metrics and dashboards. Key performance indicators are available as standard, along with product health, commerce, and monetization metrics. The Platform Data Hub analytics are driven by Wargaming's business intelligence team, who is constantly working to provide the most useful information while ensuring data governance and best practices. Best of all, once you are connected to the Platform Data Hub, you will be geared up to benefit from continuous enhancements and new features, starting with real-time, data-driven operations, such as a rules engine to provide players with tailored offerings and relevant information based on behavior and in-game choices, or customer service workflows, being enhanced by bringing up-to-the-minute essential information at a moment's notice. Social maps of your player base, allowing you to visualize player and team interactions. Customized game analytics, enabling data-driven and intelligent game design changes, including decisions around game and map balance. Every successful product is the result of consistently smart decision-making, and the Platform Data Hub makes transforming your data into the information you need, easy and fast, helping to drive your game to success. Game development teams can stay focused on getting the best out of their games. Let the Platform Data Hub get you the best out of your data.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're the one with the blue hair, so you've got to stand there.
Any questions? No questions.
If you don't have any now, you can ask us at the party, which is happening very soon. I think we've got them. Yeah, we've got one there. Hey, do you want this?
Thank you.
Hey, so can you give us some insight into how you created the video for those of us who are not video savvy?
So we have an art guy,
okay.
And we said, hey, we like this, and gave him like 5 bullet points, and then he made a beautiful video.
No, we actually collaborated to make a script and then went through different iterations and stuff. But yeah, if you need one, let us know.
I don't think we make
We have a guy for that.
We don't make them for other teams.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, what platforms do you support? Is this very easy to integrate into like Unreal or Unity or any other, commonly used engines that like indie developers and stuff are using?
Okay, so the way that we're building it is to be agnostic to all that. So our APIs are basically you just plug in and you can use any platform. That's the vision. Mm-hmm. Where we're at now is something else. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it looks like the end result is a lot of data. Do you supply help to analyze that data itself? Because the last thing I would want is just a bunch of charts I'm going to start having confirmation bias. I'll make my own story rather than be told the story. So do you supply that as well?
Yes, we're going to provide additional reports on top of the charts. So the charts are just the first offering that we've listed on our little a la carte menu that we're going to have. And then from there, as we get feedback from the game teams on what they need and is valuable to them, we're going to grow that offering.
Yeah, I think one of the key things is that the essential metrics that you need for any game will be there out of the box. So then as you need stuff specific to your game, yeah, we can also do that.
And especially as you're designing, if you integrate into this in the beginning, then you'll just have those before launch. So all your testing, you can see the reports and see how it works and know what to expect moving forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, like we said, catch us at the party if you've got any other questions that you want to ask offline. Very happy to tell you about it. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, we're at 4C with another one of our speakers. Hello, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Leszek Szczepański. I'm a senior gameplay programmer at Guerrilla Games in Amsterdam.
Great, so tell us, let's talk games. What's your favorite video game?
Neverwinter Nights.
That's an awesome choice. What's the very first game you've ever played?
I don't remember. I mean, I had an original Nintendo, so I played like Contra or Mario. But the first game I actually remember playing well was Doom. I was way too young to play it.
That's some time ago. How did you get into the industry?
Actually, I was a little bit lucky. I was studying at the time, and like in between universities, so to speak. And my sister said, "Hey, there's this company doing games. Would you be interested in applying?" I applied, and I got a job in mobile industry. And for 5 years, I did mobile games until I figured I'm done and started doing console games.
Not bad. But if you had the chance to go back to the time and give yourself one advice, what would it be?
Don't worry about school, just make games.
You hear that? That's what I'd want. So tell us, what do you like and hate about the modern industry?
Okay, so my perspective might be a little bit weird because a lot of people complain about the crunch, working conditions, so on and so forth. I've been really lucky where I work right now because the working conditions are really, really good. The only thing I can complain about the AAA industry is that even being like in a senior position, you don't have that much control over what you're building. And you have dreams, you have things you want to build, but you're still like part of the process. If you're like in a 200, 300 person team, you would like to make a bigger impact. On the other hand, we are building amazing things. It's wonderful to work like 5 or 7 years on the project, and after seeing all these prototypes, bugs, failed builds, and so on and so forth, see the thing on YouTube or on the disk and actually playing out more than you had imagined, and much more than you could have built on your own.
Well, speaking of building things on your own, imagine you had full creative financial freedom over your own project. What would it be then?
Oh, I'm a horrible nerd, so I would just create like an isometric role-playing game. So something like Fallout or Baldur's Gate. So something like that. I'm not sure about the setting, maybe something futuristic, but like a really hardcore isometric role-playing game. That would be something I would do on my own.
Speaking of futuristic, where do you see the industry going in the future, like in 10 years' time? Maybe some breakthrough technology?
Oh, I'm not really sure. I mean, we've been talking about the end of PC gaming, end of console gaming for years now, and it didn't happen. So I think that there will be small revolutions coming on, like new technologies, new ideas, but we will be still sort of standing on the shoulder of giants. So PlayStation will be there, Xbox will be there, Nintendo will be there, and there will be a lot of stuff, and we will continue growing. Consoles will continue growing, PC will continue growing, mobile will continue growing, and new technologies like VR, AR, or God knows what else will also continue growing. That's what I think, at least.
Is crossplay gonna become a thing, you think?
Sorry?
Is crossplay going to become a thing?
Like between different consoles? Or?
Yes.
I think so. I mean, there's only benefit to that, right? And it already happened before with different games. So I think it will happen, but it's not up to people like me to make it happen.
Well, speaking about tech, we have VR, AR, and lots of amazing stuff. Do you think these new input methods will eventually replace conventional controllers or not?
I definitely don't think they will replace. I think they will be their own thing in their own right. So people were talking about mobile replacing normal games, and that didn't happen. People were talking about mobile replacing even handhelds. And yes, the handheld market is so much smaller, but it's still there. I mean, how many people bought the Switch and walk around with a Switch, right? So I think VR and AR will be just another market. More people are coming into gaming, and they want other ways to play.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to see into the future here at 4C. And what's your opinion on the conference so far?
It's really nice. It's actually well organized. I'm surprised that organizers can manage all this herd of cats, like speakers and the guests and everyone, so it's going quite well. I haven't seen a lot of talks just yet, but I looked at the talk list. It seems pretty interesting. There's definitely some knowledge which I'll be able to take out of this, and I'm looking forward to that.
Any particular speech you're maybe looking forward to?
To be frank, I'm so freaking out about my own talk that I haven't figured out this specific one I want to see, but I made like a small list. I circled in our brochure, so I'll be looking into what I would really want to see.
If you heard your own talk from the audience, what question would you like to ask yourself?
Whoa, that's a difficult question. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of hoping that I'm giving all the information that I'm supposed to give. So I hope there won't be that many things unclear that will require more questions. I'll be talking a lot about component-based architecture, and maybe that would be useful to elaborate on that. Why Gorilla started with component-based architectures, why everybody's doing it pretty much. Maybe something like this.
Well, hopefully you find the needed answers, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, we're here with one of our speakers. Hello, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Alex Babko, Head of Global Special Projects at Wargaming.
So Alex, tell us, what have you got to show us?
Well, today and these days at 4C, like the world's best game designers, game developers are sharing their experience with everyone here at 4C. And Wargaming also introduces our best practices here, and today we show to all the attendees the new augmented reality experience that Wargaming has recently built. So basically we've taken the Sturmtiger from World of Tanks to real life, so that more people around the world can experience it, can interact with it, and that's basically what happens behind our backs. So those guys with HoloLens and with the Google Tango device are seeing the future, because they see the Sturmtiger here in the at the conference, but all people around them who don't take the devices, they basically can't see that, but those guys are already seeing future.
Sounds amazing, but how does it work?
Technically it's a Unity-based application, but available on the Microsoft HoloLens and on Google Tango device. But from the storytelling standpoint, it's part of Wargaming approach towards preserving history, so that we take the model from World of Tanks, which is really unique in real world, so only 2 Sturmtigers left in our world. But with help of augmented reality, we bring it to as many people as possible, so that they can explore this masterpiece of engineering.
So basically we can relive history with this device, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So this experience is already available at the Tank Museum in Bovington, as well as in the Museum of History of Great Patriotic War in Minsk. And we will bring it even closer to other locations as well.
Pretty cool. Can we see how it works?
Yeah, definitely. So we can now pick up the Microsoft HoloLens and see what's inside, as well as maybe show to the watchers some screenshot from the tablet, where you can also experience the augmented reality.
I'm standing near the Sturmtiger, a tank that has been recreated in augmented reality. It's so near I can almost touch it, except I can't because it isn't there. But I can clearly see it, I can see into every little detail of it. And there's actually a guide telling me about the story, the history of this great vehicle. I hope you can see it on the screens. This is truly amazing technology. This is the future of museums and probably a lot more. This is amazing.